All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. It is the second biggest day in the movie calendar of the year. Oscar nominations came out this morning. Some surprises, some snubs, some very worthy nominations. Let's start off by talking about the overall rundown. Emilia Perez leads the way with 13 nominations. Let me get this out of the way. Is this a joke? Is this a joke? This isn't a good movie. All film is subjective, and if somebody else watched it and liked it, more power to you. I mean, I'm not trying to suggest that my opinion on this is the only one that should be counted. I'm just saying I do not get this. I'm not saying this is a horrible movie. This isn't Craven. This isn't Madam Web. This isn't a horrible movie. It's not, but it's not a particularly good movie. It's a movie that touches on a lot of big, important themes and subject matter, but that doesn't make it good. You still have to do something good around it. There are better movies that have been out this year that touch on these important themes and subject matters. This is not a well put together film. And the fact that it has 13 nominations is amazing to me. Beyond that, The Brutalist, 10 nominations. Wicked, 10 nominations. Complete Unknown, 8. Conclave, 8. Anora, 6. And Dune Part 2 and The Substance share 5. Nosferatu got 4 as well, by the way. So let's go over some of the categories. I'm not going to touch on all of them because, frankly, I'm not going to apologize for it. I don't care about all of them. But we're going to touch on a bunch of them here. We're going to start off one, obviously, because I used to work in visual effects. Special place in my heart. The films that ended up getting the visual effects nominations are Alien Romulus, Better Man, which, by the way, I watched a 6-minute clip of Better Man. Totally deserves this nomination.
Yeah.
It may have been a bad concept for the movie that totally alienated everybody, so nobody went to go see it. It's one of the biggest flops in cinematic history. But man, I'll tell you what, that CGI digital motion capture monkey was freaking Planet of the Apes level. It looked, I could not believe the visual effects feat that they
canonically, I think A Better Man fits right in to the.
It should be totally the prequel, the Planet of the Apes.
Totally.
Dune Part 2 got nominated. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes got nominated, and Wicked got nominated. I'm actually a little surprised that Deadpool and Wolverine didn't get nominated. I thought they had some really good visual effects in that film, but whatever. And there's a few others that didn't get. Also, I honestly thought Godzilla X Kong, I should say, had a shot at getting one of the nominations as well. So if any of you guys have some others that you think are weird for missing on this, I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes should take this. Like, you watch that movie, it's practically flawless in its visual effects presentation. Who do you think let me rephrase that. Who do you think should win? Who do you think will win? Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. Are you guys like me, both a movie and a sports fan? Well, if so, then you know that the playoffs are here and it's now or never. If you love football and want to add some real excitement to the games, let me tell you about PrizePicks, the best place for your daily fantasy sports. So here's how it works. It's super simple. You just pick more or less on player projections. Think Patrick Mahomes will throw more than 1.5 touchdowns this week, or maybe Lamar Jackson will get over 250 passing yards. Make your picks in less than a minute and take your shot at winning up to 1,000 times your cash. Ann and I have been having a blast using PrizePicks every weekend. It's simple, it's fun, and it just makes watching the games that much more exciting. Plus, PrizePicks puts you first. With easy, fast, secure withdrawals, you can get your winnings in as little as 15 minutes, and they make deposits even easier. And right now, if you sign up today, you get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So don't wait. Download the app today and use the code Campea to get $50 instantly after playing your first $5 lineup. That's right, play for just $5 and you get a $50 bonus instantly. PrizePicks, run your game.
I think Dune 2 is going to win, but I think you're right. I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. There's a special feature on the disc, and they have the movie without any visual effects in it.
Really?
So, yeah, it's one of the greatest special features ever done. Shout out to Steve Asbell at 20th Century Studios. You can watch the movie with everybody in motion capture, and it's astonishing when you watch it and you realize what they can do with this technology. It's amazing. But I would say that it's just the culmination of what's possible. I'm not surprised by it. Whereas I do think that Denis Villeneuve's Dune movies, my favorite word, verisimilitude, they shot those movies on Arrakis.
Yeah.
They did. And they with Dune 2, they just upped the ante. When they did things like shooting Gidi Prime with no color, and there's just so much cool stuff in there. So I think Dune 2, but they might say, well, we gave it, Dune 1. I don't know.
I was kind of thinking that too. I think they're like, well, it looked a lot like Dune 1. So
yeah.
They kind of did the inverse of what they did with Lord of the Rings, where they kind of ignored Lord of the Rings until Return of the King.
Yeah.
They're like, let's front load
right.
this and then let it coast.
You're right.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to point out there is a misunderstanding here. Roberto Borks in the live chat is saying it's not the better visual effects; it's the best picture with visual effects. No, it's not. That's not it at all. The visual effects branch of the Academy doesn't care how good or bad the movie is. Mm-hmm. The visual effects branch of the Academy, which is made up of all visual effects professionals, they are just looking at which was the best accomplishment in visual effects. Mm-hmm. Period. They don't care how good or bad the overall movie is. It's just that, and then they create the nominations list that then the whole Academy votes on. So anyway, I would love it if Dune 2 won. I think it's going to go to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but we'll see. All right. Next up, we've got Best Costume Design. Of course, we have a show here on the channel known as Designing Hollywood, often hosted by our own Robert Meyer Burnett. It's a huge deal. So the nominees for costume design are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. This is one of those categories where I will have no qualms with whoever they announce as the winner. The costuming in all of these things. I still haven't seen A Complete Unknown, so I'll put that aside. But just from what I've seen in the previews and the CinemaCon presentation and all that kind of stuff, it looks so period accurate. It looks incredible. But Conclave, Gladiator, Nosferatu, Wicked, I love all of these.
I do want to point out that 3 of those people have recent shows on this channel.
On Designing Hollywood.
I mean, David Crossman and Janty Yates. The Gladiator, if I do say so myself, the Gladiator show we did was epic. And because there's 2 different costume designers. Crossman did all the armor, did all like the Roman armor, which was exquisite. And then Janty Yates did all like Denzel's outfits and stuff. So I think that these are all of them are very, very worthy.
Yes, but if I got to do the will win, should win, again, I love all these. I'm not going to be surprised if any of them win, and I'm perfectly fine with any of them winning. I'm going to say Wicked probably will, and probably should. The costumes in Wicked are so creative and imaginative. And also, I know. What do you think?
I think you're probably right. And Paul Taswell, who did those costumes, the guy's amazing. He's also been on Designing Hollywood, and I think we're doing a show with him with Wicked. I think. I won't be hosting that one, but he's an amazing guy. But those costumes were like old school Hollywood glamour.
Yeah. The whole movie was like golden age Hollywood.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Yeah, it really was. But then again, I mean, Denzel's outfits in Gladiator 2, man, those are some banger costumes.
They all looked great, but I think they're going to go with Wicked on this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we move on now to cinematography. I know one of Rob's favorite categories. The nominees are The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. I mean, I'm not just being a homer on. I really do think it should be Dune Part 2. By the way, the cinematography in The Brutalist is breathtaking.
It's breathtaking. It is.
So beautiful. But I think this is going to be one. I'm going to go both will and should. I will go with Dune Part 2.
It's a tough one. By the way, also, I interviewed Greg Fraser, the cinematographer for Dune 2, on this channel as well.
Yeah.
So, I think you're probably right. I mean, again, what they did, shooting, I think, whether it was Ultraviolet or the stuff on Gidi Prime where it goes almost black and white, and they did such amazing. It's tough, but then this is a great category. The Brutalist, 70 millimeter. I mean, it's incredible too.
All right. Next category, editing. The nominees are Honora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked. This is going to be the first category where my will and should are going to be different. I think will win is Wicked. I think that's going to win. And by the way, the editing in Wicked is spectacular. Particularly when you look at that dance scene where when they go to the student party, the editing and the shot selections and all that kind of stuff. It's a beautifully edited film. But I'll tell you what I think should win. Honora.
100%.
The way they use their cuts and their edits to enhance the emotions and everything that's going on in the scene. Rob, there's that old saying that you shoot the movie on set, you make the movie in the edit room. I really feel like Honora is a perfect example of that. But I again, these are all wonderfully edited films, especially Conclave too. But I think it's going to be Wicked, but I would personally vote Honora.
I'm 100% with you, and I love the fact that director Sean Baker edited the film himself. And I totally relate to that.
And nominated for it.
Yeah. But
So
I do
good for
think
him.
Wicked's going to win. You look at Wicked, I mean, it's so beautifully made on every level.
All right.
It just moves like a gunshot.
I would normally skip over this, but this is a point of contention for a lot of people. Best documentary. The nominees are Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, The Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. By the way, Porcelain War is fantastic. I have not seen most of these documentaries.
This is the first year I haven't seen any.
I've only seen one on it. Now, the reason though I bring this up is because a lot of eyebrows got raised when one name did not appear on this list.
Oh,
Superman.
yeah.
The Christopher Reeve story. That got a lot of people upset. Now, here's why I am personally can't be bothered that Superman didn't make the list. The reason I can't be bothered by the fact that it got snubbed, or even call it a snub, is because I have not seen Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat. I have not seen Sugarcane. I have not seen No Other Land, and I've not seen The Black Box Diaries. I've only seen Porcelain War, and it's amazing. So I am not in a position that I can say Superman deserved the spot above these. Superman is phenomenal. It's moving and just, it's so good. But, and I challenged some of our viewers in the live chat before the live show started, because a bunch of people, this is a Superman snub. I was like, but did you see any of these documentaries? Because I'm willing to bet real money that you have not seen these. So we can't say it got snubbed if we have not seen the other films to say it that Superman deserved it above those. But again, Rob, it's raising a lot of eyebrows that it didn't get nominated. I've only seen one of these films. Were you able to catch any of these?
The
ones?
only other one the only one I've seen is Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and I've seen it because Kino Lorber, who sends me discs to review, sent me that movie, and I didn't know what it was because they sent me that with the Chet Baker documentary Let's Get Lost.
Right.
And I thought it was contemporary to that or something, and I didn't realize it was a new movie. And I think it's terrific. And you go, Kino Lorber.
All right. By the way, I have to address this as quickly. Somebody in the live chat is saying the Academy is all politics now. It doesn't have the same worth. No, your politics. It's only when people don't like what got nominated or not that they bring their politics into it. It's not politics. It's just you're making it politics because it wasn't what you wanted. But anyway, let's move on to the next category here. Best animated feature. Flow. Inside Out 2. Memoir of a Snail. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Now, this is clearly a two-horse race. It's Flow and it's The Wild Robot. Flow is very good. I don't think it's the same movie that Wild Robot is. I just think Wild Robot is the superior film. I was so blown away by how effective and beautiful and everything about The Wild Robot made me laugh. It made me smile. It made my heart smile. It also made me sad. And like, it's a beautiful, beautiful film. Flow has gotten a lot of momentum, Rob, during the awards season. I still think The Wild Robot should win it. I have a feeling Flow will. So I'm going to go will is Flow, should is The Wild Robot. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Flow. I didn't know anything about Flow really, but looking into it, I really want to see it. But bro, I got to say, Wallace and Gromit, dude. I know it's not going to win.
It was really good.
But I love Wallace and Gromit. Get cracking, you know? The fact that they brought Vengeance Most Foul, the fact that they brought him back, man, I love Wallace and Gromit. But, you know,
That's
what
it.
can you do?
One of the hardest laughs I had in any animated film this year was in Wild Robot when the possum mom, like you just hear, they're very brutal about nature, right? And here when everybody goes, ah, as a predator came around, it's like, oh, 6 kids or whatever. And then like
they were so cute.
A few moments later, I'm okay, mom. And then the mom is like, yay. like I'm like, oh my God. Like I laugh so hard. Wild Robot is so special. Anyway, so there's that. All right, let's move on now to Best International Feature, which, by the way, this is the first time I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, and guys in the live chat, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first time I remember that 2 films in the international feature are also nominated for Best Picture. Anyway, the nominees for Best International Feature are I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, Emilia Perez, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, Flow, which also is nominated for Best Animated. I think, now, for the record, I have not seen The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and I have not seen The Girl with the Needle. Okay, so just to be clear. So with that understanding, I think I'm Still Here. I mean, I'm Still Here is really good. It's strong. It's got great flow. It's definitely better than Emilia Perez, in my opinion. And I think it's better than Flow. I would give it to I'm Still Here, but it seems, Rob, like all the momentum is for Emilia Perez, so Emilia Perez is probably going to take it.
Yeah, it probably will.
Yeah, but then if it takes Best Foreign Film, does it even have a shot at Best Film?
I don't. That would be interesting.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If it doesn't win Best Foreign Film, then it has no chance at Best Picture, right? If you can, because you can't say I'm Still Here is the best foreign film over Emilia Perez, because now you just said, as the Academy, you said, I'm Still Here's the better film. Well, then you can't have Emilia Perez then win Best Picture if you've already said that I'm Still Here is better than it, right? So if it wins Best International Feature, it doesn't mean it will win Best Picture at all. But if it doesn't win Best International Feature earlier in the evening, you can scratch it off the card immediately for it winning Best Picture later on. So it'll be interesting to keep our eyes on that, see how that works out. All right, now we get into the screenplays. The nominees for Best Original Screenplay are Honora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, which, by the way, the script for that is excellent, September 5, and The Substance. I like The Substance very much. I don't know that it deserved a Best Screenplay thing. To me, all due respect to the other great screenplays, Honora's script is impeccable.
Yeah.
It's an impeccable script. So I would say will win is The Brutalist. It's got the momentum. I think should win is Honora. Are you starting to catch a theme that I really liked Honora?
Dude, anyway, I loved Honora.
Isn't this so good?
Loved it.
Anyway, who do you see winning and who do you think should win?
You know, I think The Brutalist is probably going to win, but I'll tell you something. I think A Real Pain has a shot. I think it has
definitely
a shot.
does. 100%
And
does.
the fact, I love the fact that, you know, I like when actors become multi-hyphenates. You know, and Jesse Eisenberg, auteur, wrote and directed that movie.
Good for him.
And I think that he's a guy, I mean, I've always liked him. Ever since The Social Network, I've been a huge fan of his. I think he could take it because it's such a personal script. And there is so much emotion in it. And the dialogue was great.
Yeah.
And Kieran Culkin was great.
By the way, I can't remember which of the award shows it was, but Kieran Culkin won for A Real Pain.
Yeah.
And he gave a really nice tribute to Eisenberg while he was doing it too. So anyway, I agree with you. I think it's got a shot, but I think it's ultimately going to be The Brutalist, although I'm pulling for Honora. All right. Now we move on to writing. Best adapted screenplay. A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing.
Oh, that's so tough.
It's
a hard one.
Really tough, but I got to bring this up. This is the first one I'm going to say this. Where the fuck is Dune? Where the fuck is the screenplay for Dune 2? I'm not just saying because I think Dune is like the best film I've seen in the last 10 years. The script for Dune 2 is amazing as an adapted work. It's amazing. You put Emilia Perez on this list
right
and not Dune 2? Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, that being said, no problems with God, dude, I cannot believe how much I loved Conclave.
Oh, it was great.
I was glued to the screen every second of that movie. The Nickel Boy, Sing Sing, all great. I think A Complete Unknown will win. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just saying from what, remember, that's not who I'm saying should win. I can't say that because I haven't seen it yet. But from everything I'm hearing, I think A Complete Unknown may surprise and shock the world and win there. I think out of this list, I think Conclave should get it out of this list. Rob, out of this list, who's going to, who should? Do you see any snubs on here?
I really liked A Complete Unknown, but a lot of it is musically driven. You know, it's not like it has this. It's a really, really good movie, but I don't know about screenplay. I think Conclave had a great script, but you know what? I think that I haven't seen Nickel Boys.
It's my pick.
It's surprisingly good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, from what I've heard, I think that could take it too.
All right.
So you've seen it.
Nickel Boys is my choice for this one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into now some of what a lot of the average fans consider the big major ones. Although, the screenplay is one of the major awards, but now we get into the ones that people pay most attention to. Best directing. And again, I said it would happen. I said the other day it would happen, and it has happened. Best directing. Sean Baker for Nora. Bradley Corbett for The Brutalist. James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez. And Coralie Farragut for The Substance. I'm sorry. Deadline must have a typo because I do not see Denis Villeneuve's name on here. I have not been, and I said it looked like, Jonathan, you call it recency bias, and I think you're completely correct. I have not been this outraged by a snub from the Best Director thing since Ben Affleck, who won Best Director at the DGAs.
Yeah.
Whose movie Argo won Best Picture, and he didn't get nominated, even though he won at the Director Guild Awards, he didn't get nominated. I have not been this perplexed. What's the word? Verklempt? I'm verklempt over the fact Denis Villeneuve did not get a nomination over the directors of Emilia Perez? What the? Josh Brolin put out a comment today. Said, I guess I'm quitting acting because what are we doing here? With Denis, talking about Denis Villeneuve not getting nominated. Said, I guess I'm quitting acting because what are we doing? I'm not sitting here saying Dune Part 2 should get every nomination for everything. I've only said this for 2 categories. That's it. Just 2. But I am stunned. Anyway, Bradley Corbett's going to win Best Director, I think. Out of this list, I think Sean Baker for Nora should.
I agree.
Again, the direction of again, I always say, Rob, that the number one responsibility of the director is to elicit and get out the best performance possible out of their actors. They have a ton of other responsibilities. To me, that's the number one responsibility. And what he was able to do with this cast is insane and great and amazing. But again, I mean, all due respect to Brady as well for The Brutalist, it's a phenomenal accomplishment. So anyway, Rob, who will win? Who should win?
I think Sean Baker should win, but Brady Corbet
for Brutalist,
is going to win, I think.
I could see Substance being the dark horse in this list.
Plus,
but it's the top 3, and really it's the top 2.
And plus, The Brutalist is like he directed 2 movies.
Yeah.
It's 3.5 hours long.
I know.
All right. Now we move on to Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Monica Barbaro in A Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande in Wicked. Felicity Jones in The Brutalist. Isabella Rossellini in Conclave. And Zoe Saldana in Emilia Perez. I gotta say this.
I already know my pick.
I really liked Isabella Rossellini in Conclave.
She was awesome.
She's great. In the 5 minutes of screen time she
That's
has.
the thing. That's what
She's
blows me
Beatrice
away. It's a
Straight network.
It's a small scene and it's very underplayed scenes, which it's supposed to be. But
I mean, it is a supporting role by all definition.
Yeah.
And who was it that won for like 4 minutes of screen time in Shakespeare in Love? Was that Judi Dench?
Judi Dench.
Jen,
Yeah. So I mean, she only had a couple of minutes of screen time, so I guess it works, and she is great in it. But anyway, listen, I'll tell you what. I was so shocked, I tell you, of how good Ariana Grande was in Wicked.
my only kickback, it's just that she's not a supporting role. We've covered this, but
I know it is category fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is absolutely 100% category fraud. She is a lead actor in the movie. This is one of the worst offenses of category fraud ever. Listen, this is as bad as Christian Bale being nominated in this category, Best Supporting Actor, for when he was in Fighter. He is clearly the co-lead. He has every single bit of as much screen time as Mark Wahlberg did. He's the guy on the poster. He's all that kind of stuff. But they committed category fraud because he couldn't win, because that was the year of The King's Speech, and no one was beating Colin Firth that year.
Yeah.
So they moved him into Best Supporting. This is category fraud. But that rant aside, I was floored with how good Ariana Grande carried the movie for me. Cynthia Erivo was magnificent too, don't get me wrong. But I was so surprised by Ariana Grande. I admit I didn't believe in her. I'm not an Ariana Grande fan. I'm not. I didn't believe in her. She sold me. And she's not going to win. But I'll be honest with you. If I was voting this year, I would probably vote for her. She engrossed me in that movie. And I loved her in it. And again, I think the one who will win, actually, I think it might be Felicity Jones.
Yep.
She doesn't have the momentum or anything, but I actually think the Academy voters are going to go for Felicity Jones. And I am 100% okay with that if she does. Rob, who will win? Who should win?
I think, well, it's interesting because I've been reading a lot about how Felicity Jones might have gotten a snub because people are saying, well, the Academy hasn't been watching The Brutalist. Well, clearly people were reading the same articles I was because they went back in and they saw that she was there. I think she definitely could carry that. But I also think that Isabella Rossellini has a shot too, because I know it's a small role, but she knocked that out of the park.
She really did. She was incredible. And she stood out in a movie with Stanley Tucci, Jonathan Lithgow, and the greatest actor in the world who doesn't have an Oscar, Ralph Fiennes. And yet she was able to stand out and shine surrounded by these titans. And that says a lot. All right. With that, let's go on into Best Supporting Actor. Yura Borzov in Anora. I've never heard of this dude, man. He was so good in this movie.
So good.
Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain. Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown.
Loved him in that movie.
Guy Pearce, who we don't see enough of Guy Pearce in movies anymore.
No, we don't.
I love Guy Pearce.
I mean, his role in this is like, I've never seen him perform like a role like
he's
this.
incredible.
Oh.
Incredible.
And Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice.
Who was also incredible.
Who we've got a little bit of Succession going on. We got Kieran Culkin and Jeremy Strong going head to head against each other. You know what? I think Kieran Culkin is going to take it.
I do too.
And listen, I got no issue. You know what? My vote would be Yura. I would vote for him. But a lot of people, I think the Academy will go with Kieran Culkin, and he's so good in this, I don't have an issue. Not who I would vote for, but I have zero issue with him winning.
I do think Guy Pearce has a shot too.
He's so good in this.
So good.
I mean, I can't
And who
help but
doesn't love Guy Pearce?
listen. The reason I think Guy Pearce is going to get overlooked a little bit is because what's Paul's name? He just played the Riddler.
Dano.
Oh, Paul Dano, yeah.
Paul Dano.
Dano.
When I think that we might get a little bit of Paul Dano syndrome here, because Paul Dano gave one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in There Will Be Blood. He was phenomenal in There Will Be Blood.
But who is he up against?
He was in a movie with the greatest actor of all time, giving maybe the best performance of his career with Daniel Day-Lewis. And it just, I think he got overshadowed. I think Paul Dano just straight up got overshadowed.
And he played 2 roles.
Yeah. And he just got straight up overshadowed. And I have a feeling that may happen here for Guy Pearce. And I was actually pleasantly surprised that he got the nomination. Good on him for getting that nomination. But I think it's going to be Kieran Culkin. I would vote for Euro, though.
That's probably the way it goes. I mean, Edward Norton did become Pete Seeger, though.
He totally did. He was so good.
All right.
Kind of a dick, though.
That's how he was,
I know. But he was great. He was great.
Now we get on to Best Actress in a Leading Role. And the nominations are Cynthia Erivo for Wicked.
All right.
Sofia Gasson in Amelia Perez. Mickey Madison in Honora. Demi Moore in The Substance.
Oh, man.
And Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here. Man, this one is tight. It's a situation. There's only a couple of these categories this year, but this is one of the new ones. And I'm like, I got no qualms with anybody winning. You're not like when they announce who wins, whoever it is, I ain't going to complain. And while I think Amelia Perez does not deserve 13 nominations, it deserves this one.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
That's how I feel.
Carla deserves this nomination.
That's how I feel about The Brutalist. I was not really big on The Brutalist, but the performance were so good.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
So if they announce Carla wins, I'm not going to complain, actually.
No.
Okay, so here's where I think it's going to go. I think who should win. I don't know if they pronounce it Mikey or Mickey, but I'll say Mikey, or I'll say Mickey. Mickey Madison for Nora.
We'll find out.
Again, it's a tight race. It's such a great field. But if they put it in front of me and I had to cast a ballot, I'm going Madison for Nora. She floored me in that.
Yeah.
Man, I know there's going to be a lot of movement for Cynthia Erivo, who again is incredible in Wicked. I think it's going to be Demi Moore. I think Demi Moore actually might take this.
That's what I'm thinking. Shit, this film's the dark horse. But
Yeah.
I tell you, there could be a Pretty Woman effect for Honora. You know, because Pretty Woman won Best Actress.
I think Amelia Perez. I think she's going to take it.
Carla?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I have no issue. And Fernanda Torres and I'm Still Here she carried the film. So, I mean,
I haven't seen it.
And again, if they announce Cynthia Erivo, I'm like, okay, yep.
Yeah,
I get it.
every one of these. I mean, look, would I like to see Demi Moore win? I love Demi Moore. I've loved Demi Moore all the way. Remember when she was in the movie Wisdom with Emilio Estevez when they were a couple? There you go. I mean, all the way back, I've always loved her, but I just don't think in The Substance, she's amazing, but she doesn't have as much to do as a lot of these other actresses in their films in terms of what she's called upon. Although that scene in front of the mirror when she's supposed to go out at night and then decides not to go out, she's looking at herself and can't. That was an incredible piece of acting.
All right. Now we move on to Best Actor in a Leading Role. The nominees are, and what a lineup, Adrian Brody, already an Academy Award winner, for The Brutalist. Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing. Ralph Fiennes in Conclave. And it's a bit of a surprise, Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. All right. Man, I'll tell you what. This is why. This category is a great example of why I talk about how the Oscar is the single most difficult award to win. Because not only do you have to turn in the performance of a lifetime, you're going to be going up against a bunch of people who have also given the performances of a lifetime. Rafe, Coleman, Timothy, Adrian, any of them could win this.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm going to go. I think Adrian Brody will win. I think Rafe Fiennes should win. Rafe Fiennes, again, I believe I've been saying this for years, ever since Gary Oldman won his Academy Award for playing Winston Churchill. Because before that, I said Gary Oldman was the best actor on the planet, I thought, who didn't have an Oscar. Once he won that, I said, okay, the mantle's been passed to Rafe Fiennes. I don't believe there's any question that he's the best actor in the world who doesn't have an Academy Award. And I think he should win it for Conclave. But I think it's going to go to Adrian Brody, and I've got no qualms with it. My vote would go Rafe Fiennes. Rob, who will win? Who should win?
I think you're right. Again, we're simpatico. Look, I love Rafe Fiennes. I love The English Patient. I love Rafe Fiennes as Lenny Nero in Catherine Bigelow's Strange Days. I want to be him. And then when he became the new M, in the Bond films, I love.
And he's Voldemort.
Hey, he's Voldemort. I love me Rafe Fiennes. I love me some Rafe Fiennes. I loved him in Conclave. I loved Conclave. That was great. But you're right. I mean, Adrian Brody, because Adrian Brody he's in 2 movies. Brutalist.
Essentially.
Brutalist is no. And Adrian Brody is a phenomenal actor.
This would be his second, right?
This would be his second. Yep. Now, will he kiss whoever is giving him the award this time if he wins? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like that's one of the more.
Remember that cut to the audience, and he was just like, her husband was like,
yeah. All right.
Yeah, but he's just that kind of guy.
He
you
is.
see him on social media. He's always saying spiritual things. It's like,
All right. And by the way, he was so good as Pat Riley in Winning Time.
Yeah,
oh
man.
my God. Was he?
He's so good as
And the
Pat
fact
Riley.
that he'll
Winning
do
Time.
a Winning Time and then roll in and go do The Brutalist and get nominated for a Best Academy Award for Best Actor.
All right. Well, now we move on to the big one. Best Picture. Now, of course, remember now it is the new rule of the Oscars that they do 10 nominees for Best Picture. So a number of these you can immediately discount as not actually getting. They just got the honor of being nominated. But the nominations for Best Picture are Anora. I'm so happy Anora got a Best Picture nomination, man. So Anora gets nominated for Best Picture. The Brutalist nominated for Best Picture. A Complete Unknown. Again, the only film on this list I haven't seen, so I can't really say. Conclave nominated for Best Picture. Thank you. Dune Part 2.
There you go.
At least you got your heads out of your asses and at least gave it the nomination. We know you're not going to give it the win, but at least you gave the Best Picture of the last 10 years a nomination. Emilia Perez does not belong on this list, but you can't have 13 nominations and not be nominated for Best Picture. I'm Still Here. Nickel Boys. The Substance. And Wicked. You know what? I never would have guessed earlier this year, before seeing it, that Wicked would be good enough to be nominated for Best Picture of the Year. It is. It is. And no problem. It won't win, but I'm glad it's nominated.
Remember at CinemaCon, though, we saw that preview, but when it just started production and how impressive that was?
It was 2 years ago they showed us that
2 years ago. And
yeah.
I'm like, you know what? If they're putting this much into this movie, it doesn't surprise me that Wicked is here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when they showed us 2 years ago and last year, these big presentations for Wicked, I said, man, because I don't care about Wicked. I'll be straight with you. I don't care about Wicked. But I said, man, this looks way better than I thought it would. I still wouldn't have guessed it would be a contender for Best Picture. And you know what? It deserves this spot. I don't think it should win, but it deserves the nomination. All right. I think this comes down. Okay. Let's throw some ones out right away. I don't think Wicked wins. I don't think The Substance has any chance.
First of all, can we just talk about, if you had said to me, I thought The Substance was one of the most fun times I ever had in a movie theater, especially this year.
A lot of blood in that movie.
It was a
most fun. Even the eating scenes, I had to sit there with my eyes closed.
I loved it so much. And when it was over, I was sitting in a half-empty theater, and I literally was hooting and hollering and gave it a big round of applause.
Of course you did.
And people were looking at me like I was out of my mind. If you had asked me then, John, if I thought that The Substance would have a nomination for Best Picture, I would have said, as much as I had fun, there's no way. There's no way that it's ever going to get. So bravo. It's a win for horror. It's a win for Demi. It's a win for female directors. It's a win for somebody. The That director's incredible, and she went through film school. She earned every bit of it. So you go.
But we agree,
Substance.
though, that it doesn't really have any chance of winning.
No.
Right? Yeah. It's not gonna win.
No, it doesn't.
Nickel Boys, I don't think has any chance of winning, but well-deserved
Yeah.
nomination. I'm Still Here. I don't think he has any chance of winning, but it's good to be on here. Listen, as much as it hurts my ass to say it, Emilia Perez has a chance to win. Again, does not deserve to be on this list. It's the only film really on this list that I would straight up say doesn't deserve to be on the list, but it is, and it actually has a legitimate shot.
It has songs in it that are more memorable than Moana 2.
Or Lion King.
Or the end, not by much.
But I feel like this is kind of like Crash for me. Although a lot of people like Crash.
I actually do like Crash.
I did not dislike it.
You just didn't think it
I
deserved
didn't think
Best
it-
James
Picture.
Spader's
Yes.
great in Crash.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Dune Part 2 should win. It won't, but it should. Conclave, major contender to win, I think. Complete Unknown, again, the one I haven't seen, but it looks like it's going to be a contender to win. The Brutalist and Honora,
Yeah.
I think The Brutalist will win Best Picture.
I do too.
I wouldn't vote for it myself for Best Picture, but I think it's going to win Best Picture. The one that should win, to me, obviously, is Dune 2. My second vote for should win would be Conclave. My third vote for what should win would be Honora. But again, I think Brutalist is going to win. I don't have any qualms with that. I don't if it wins. Again, I thought the second half of it became a little weighted. But aside from that, I think it's a brilliant cinematic achievement. So I'm going to say Brutalist wins. Dune 2 should win.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm going really far in advance. Rob, which one's going to win the biggest award, and who do you think should win the biggest
Well,
award?
look, I've been saying I love Honora. I think Honora should win. It's not going to. The Brutalist is going to win. And not only is The Brutalist going to win, I am literally a member of A24. You know, I get their magazine. When The Brutalist wins Best Picture, A24 is going to become the most insufferable distribution company that has ever existed in Hollywood. The most insufferable. And I say that with love because I'm a member of A24 and
Card carrying member.
I'm literally, it's on my keychain. And boy, I don't think anyone's ever going to get to be another. No one's going to ever have another meeting at A24 because they're going to be so high up in the clouds that people can't even get there. It's going to be.
I will say this though. Okay, so looking back over it at the Best Picture list, I gotta say, Sing Sing didn't get nominated for Best Picture. Again, a film that I'm not going to call it a snub because I think if a movie had no chance of winning, you can't really call it a snub that didn't get up. But I really expected to see Sing Sing on this list.
It's a really great film.
Yeah.
And it comes, it's based on a real story, and it is kind of, look, it's a really strong category regardless. Sing Sing might be too small to win in terms of its story, but you never know.
You know, I'm surprised didn't get any nominations. Challengers. I expected to see Challengers get a couple of nods, and it actually didn't end up getting any. Also, where's Madam Web? Come on, guys.
Wait a minute. Did they make a Madam Web movie?
Yeah, so what? They're doing Madam
There's a
Web.
callback.
Yeah.
Old school, man.
Old school.
So anyway, guys, the question is for you. The nominations are out. We now know who our contenders are for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Director, all that kind of stuff. What do you think about them? One of the best things, Rob, about the nominations every year is it reminds us of just how many great films came out the year before. I don't think this is one of the strongest fields we've had. But again, it is a reminder, man, we had some freaking awesome movies in 2024.
Pretty good year for movies.
Yeah. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about the list? Who were your big snubs? Who were your big surprises? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.